for us. We appreciate that. So like I was saying, the gentleman that's going to start our training today, he's got a full family. They have 3 children, and he has become a highly recognized NMD in the company. So there's no one better to learn from than Mr. Lance Burton.
Test, test. All right, we're on. Jen, very nice, sweet words. Thank you for that. All right, who is ready for a slow, boring, stuffy training? Let's see you raise a hand. All right, good. If you guys were late Tuesday night, I did a presentation. Guys, I'm on fire. I'm more excited right now than I've been in my 3-year career at Nerium. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be like levitating all over the room today because I'm seriously that much more passionate about what's happening in our business. And congratulations to everybody in the room for making it out here today. There was a lot of places that you could have been. There's probably some baseball games that you could have been at, but you chose your future today. Okay? You chose to be here to come learn on how to build this business. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to have fun doing it. All right? So is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Jim gave me an awesome introduction. I appreciate that. It's always uncomfortable when somebody says something like that about you right in front of you, but I'll take it. A little bit about my background. Guys, I have no experience doing anything like this, okay? So there are a few people in this room that maybe have no experience doing anything like this. Show of hands. Okay, good. You don't have to end up here on the stage, okay, if you don't want to. This is clearly by choice, all right? But when you have a passion for something, you fall in love with something, and you want to teach people, other people, how to have what you've been able to get through this company. So, guys, I'm just going to tell you, my background, I'm from the mobile home business. All right? I mean, that is my background. I ran a retail location for a large company in Springfield, Missouri for 11 years. And, you know, I wasn't the guy out there looking for a skincare company to join. I don't think many men in this room were. If you were, more power to you. You know, I just wasn't that guy. But I'll tell you, it came to us, and it's funny how life happens. This industry comes into people's lives based on timing alone, okay? My wife and I's timing just happened to be perfect because the housing industry had taken a complete nosedive in about 2009. That was tough, you know? I have kind of gone through life, my career with my wife, my 3 awesome kids, being and everything. I was just, you know, that all-American dad. I tried to do my best job. I think most dads do. But when 2009 hit, I immediately went from working that 40-hour week overnight, 60, 70 hours plus a week, just trying to maintain a lifestyle for the lack of sales. Financing dried up. The buyers weren't as plentiful. Good afternoon, Megan. Thank you for joining us. That's my wife. This should be good. So from 2009 through 2012, guys, I found myself as being the absentee dad, okay, which broke my heart, actually put me into a deep black hole of depression. I missed every event, every soccer game, every baseball game, every cheer competition. I got to see my kids typically 20 minutes an evening before they went to bed when I got home from work. After about 3 years of that, if you have any heart at all, as a parent, we're going to be open to other avenues of earning an income for your family. And so my radar was up. Judah told me 3 years ago that skincare was going to come into my life and completely reroute my life and my family's life. I would have laughed you out of the room, guys. But I fell in love with some of the information that you guys are going to see here today. So with that, I'll just share with you, in January of 2014, after building this business, for a year and a half, part-time, spare time, with my wife Megan, I was able to make a decision to walk away from the housing industry. January of 2014, I'm a full-time single dad now. What that means is, I have the privilege of helping a lot of people around the country, now Canada and Mexico, work on building their financial futures. Okay? A lot of people come to this business looking for other things. Some people want an extra couple $100 a month. Personally, I was looking for an extra $500 a month. If I could cover the cost of my kids' competitive sports, competitive cheer, I was going to be content with that. Never in a million years did I think it would evolve into what it evolved to. So guys, we're going to go ahead and dive right on into the training. because I know we've got some really fun stuff in store for you today. You guys good with that? Yeah. Okay. When I first got started to make money, okay? And I was told, Lance, you might get started because of the financial aspect of this, but that's not going to be what keeps you here. So yeah, we're going to make money. I don't need culture. I have friends. I don't need any of that. But guys, that is exactly what has kept me here. I'm not allergic to the money, and I certainly haven't sent any back. But the friendships that I've gained, the relationships that I've made with people in this company, and the way that they make me feel, and the way that they make my family feel on a daily basis is definitely what has kept me here. So, it's real, guys. I'm a real guy. From the mobile home business, up here training about 300, 400 people on skincare today. That's crazy to me, okay? We're real people with real pictures and real results. And I'm going to carry my water jug with me today. You guys, every person in this room, even if you can't state or recite the 10 core values of this company, you're core because you're here, okay? Yeah. So be core to yourself, be core to your team, be core to your business. Then the giving back aspect, the ripple effect. Guys, I can't even begin to tell you some of the lives that have been changed just based on the ripple effect. We've been able to help people who call us, literally in tears that they're able to go out and buy their children a new pair of shoes. The first time that happened, my wife and I broke down. That was the most satisfying thing that ever happened in my life. Well, guess what that person did who called us in tears because they're going out to buy their child a new pair of shoes? They went out and helped somebody on their team do the same thing. That's the ripple effect, okay? Kind of like throwing a stone out the middle of the pond, what's going to happen? You're going to have one impact, but it's going to ripple all the way out. And that's what this company has mastered. They've mastered the ripple effect of changing people's lives. There are 3 qualities of a brand partner. Thank goodness there wasn't 10 because I don't know if I would have got started. Okay? But here are the 3 core qualities of being a brand partner. And this was what I was asked by my mentor, Don Creek, when I got started. He said, do you have a burning desire? I said, I definitely have a burning desire. I'm missing my kids. I'm kind of in a black hole in my life. I definitely would love to spend more time with my kids. So that's going to be my burning desire, to eventually maybe get home with them. Who knows? He said, are you coachable? I said, I'm here. So I think I am. Okay? I said, I'm here. I'm going to do my best. Come to find out, I wasn't so coachable in the first couple months of business. My way was better than some guy named Jeff Olson's. It didn't work. So I became coachable. Okay? But the willingness to work. Okay? Showing up at this training isn't the easiest thing to do, but you guys did it. Now, what are you going to do out of integrity when you leave the training? That's your willingness to work. Okay? When nobody's there, nobody's watching, nobody's looking to see if you're taking notes. Nobody's looking to see if you're taking notes. Are you still going to be committed and willing to work in your own business? So, any one of these 3 that are not in sync, guys, you got a little bit longer road ahead of you to become successful in this company, okay? Believe me, I had to take my ego and my pride and put it in my back pocket. My background was sales. That's not what this is, okay? That's not what this is. I had to become a professional sharer. Is that a word? Sharer? Okay. So I had to relearn, guys. And everybody in this room, unless you were born and raised in the industry of direct sales, network marketing, MLM, when you come to this industry, you have to learn a new skill set of skills. You've got to load up a whole new tool belt. Because I'm here to tell you, my background of my previous job, I didn't bring those skills to Nerium and have success. Okay? I was a brand new person. No one sprinkled Nerium dust on me and my wife. We had to put in the work. We had to learn the skill sets to become successful in this company. And that's what each and every one of us in this room are doing. Okay? We're loading up our tool belt with brand new skills, staying laser focused, and being willing to work. There was nothing residual or leveraged about selling a house. Okay? It was exciting, but that ether would wear off when I was at the closing table, already trying to figure out where the next sale was going to come from. How am I going to pay bills next month? How am I going to make my mortgage payment in 2 months? I don't really have a pipeline of deals working right now. So that's called stress, okay? That's called exchanging your time for a paycheck, all right? But what I learned with Nerium, and that really got me excited, is I was able to start earning and leveraged income. Is everybody good with that? So I said, look, when I got started, and you guys, everybody in this room hears this. Well, I don't have time to do that. I watch Oprah at 4, and Johnny's got practice at 6. I don't really see how I have time. All the while, you see him on Facebook playing Candy Crush, right, Cole? So you're three. I'm just kidding. My boy Cole Thurman, new NMD, $50,000 earner in the back of the room.
Yeah.
So thank goodness I talked to somebody when I told them that I didn't have time that had an answer for that. They said, Lance, do you have 5 to 7 hours a week? I said, I work 60 hours a week. I've got 3 kids. I probably watch that much in football, okay, on Sundays. They said, there you go. Are you willing to make a sacrifice to find 5 to 7 hours a week to start your new business and start building your own future? That's kind of a hard question to say no to, okay? Because if I'm saying no to that, then I'm saying no to my children, all right? So obviously, on the coachability, I said yes, okay? He said, now let me ask you this. Because he saw the look on my face. I was hell-bent, determined that you couldn't go out and build a 6-figure income working 5 hours a week. It made no sense to me. That was completely foreign to me. He said, here's how this works. If you go out and find 5 people that are willing to do the same thing and start putting the 5 to 7 hours a week into their business, collectively that's going into your business, all the while you're still putting in your 5. Okay. Are you guys with me? Okay, that's how this business model works, and that was actually what sunk into my brain that made me think, you know what, I can do this. Go out and find your 5. Those 5 people are putting their 5 hours a week into their business. Collectively, you've got 30 hours a week because you're putting in your 5. Those 5 are going to find their 5. You see where I'm going with this? At the end of the week, you get a combined effort of 155 hours a week, while you guys are putting in your 5, maybe 7 hours a week. Okay? That's called leveraged income, and that's what really turned me on, not only to this industry, but to this company. This has been my favorite slide since day one. A lot of you guys might just feel like, man, Lance is talking about 5 to 7 hours a week. I feel like I'm putting in more, but I'm not really seeing the income. Guys, if I can be brutally honest with you, Megan, what was our first check with Nerium? $35? 30? She's here for a reason, guys. $33, okay? Is anybody... I don't know, guys. That didn't change my life. I thought it was cool. But I was seeing people walk across stage. I was seeing people with a microphone connected to their jacket saying they're making 6 figures. I wanted to know how to do that, okay? I had to do this long enough. Okay, so here's where people get messed up. In year 1, you're going to put in 90% of the time. You're going to get most of your no's. Nobody likes getting told no. If you do, you're a weirdo. Okay? But that's where you're going to find most of them is in year 1. Megan and I, funny enough, we've actually found more of our no's in year 3. But you're going to be working 90% of the time for 10% of the money. Okay? That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but let me show you where people get messed up. They're going to go into, maybe they make it past that first year. And maybe they think that they understand that concept. And they get into year 2. Okay? They're putting in 75% of the time. They're making 25% of the money. And they'll call me and say, well, Lance, I make more of my day job than this. This just isn't worth it anymore. They're quitting before the slide edge effect has the ability to kick in. Okay? So here's how this looks. I tell everybody, when you get started, 99% of your income is going to come out of your weekly checks. Why? Because you're out bringing in new brand partners. You're out bringing in a new customer base. You're out helping your team do the same thing. You haven't built that back-end residual check yet because you're not pulling money from a large pool of customers yet. Okay? Now, here's what happens. As you keep building, driving your weekly check, bringing in customers, bringing in brand partners, helping them do the same thing, you are starting to fuel that back-end residual check by driving your weekly check. So, I don't know how many months into our business, maybe a year, maybe 18 months, that flip-flopped. Okay? 97% of our monthly income today comes out of our residual check. That's a very comfortable place to be. Okay? And I've shared this story. The most stressful time of my life was when Megan made a hair-trigger decision to sell her house, sell her business, and move to Kansas City and bring 3 kids up here and start a whole new life. That stressed me out. It was nothing for her, but it was a big deal to me. I don't even like rearranging the furniture in the house. Okay? So while that was taking place, the reason I'm sharing this with you is we sold a house, sold a business, bought a house. Of course, she wanted to redo the house, get 3 kids registered in school, and all the while we're living in the basement of this house in some foreign town called Kansas City. Guys, 45 days is the window that we did all of that in, okay? Those 45 days, if I'm being completely transparent with everybody in this room, I wasn't 100% laser focused into my Nerium business. I had my family to worry about, okay? I was taking my family through a process, and, you know, kind of a scary one for me. But the point of this story is I was still getting paid, okay? I was still getting paid because the business that we've worked our tails off for the last 2.5 years building. We built up that residual check, so I at least had the comfort knowing that on the 15th, I was going to get my check. I didn't have to stress out about that part. Now, when we got settled in our house, then it was time to get laser focused back in our business. So I don't recommend taking 45 days off, but residual income kind of allows you to do that if you've got some qualifying life decisions to make. Slide edge residuals. So this is just one example, and now I'm not going to tell everybody in this room in 12 months you're making 10 grand a month. That's not the way this goes. But if you're doing your 2-a-days, and if you're going to plug into some of the training that we're going to go through today, this is kind of what that looks like. See, this person's already got me beat. Their first check was $222. Okay? Mine was 33. All right? But again, where people get messed up and where people walk away from this business, and the reason people tell you guys as prospects, these things don't work. My aunt did that. It didn't work for her. Guys, they didn't work. Okay? Yeah. This isn't net part-time. This is network marketing. Okay? People get messed up somewhere before the arrow starts to curve up, before the money starts to come in. Okay? If you know that that's where you're at, guys, it just starts compounding and compounding and compounding and compounding. And how do I say this without using a dollar amount? Most of our dollar amount that we make came within 90 days of each other. It was following this curve, okay? Nowhere near what we were making now was even 4 months before we hit that benchmark, because the slide edge effect had started to kick in. We didn't worry about the nose. We didn't worry about the time we were putting in, because we knew Jeff Olson had a proven system. Guys, he's taken 4 companies to home run companies with this system. Who was I to challenge that? Okay? He kept saying, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. So that's what we did, and we're still doing it. So you guys, everybody understand the residual side of this business. That's why you're here. That's why you're doing this business, to retire your spouse, to get out of a job. Speaking of getting out of a job, where's my boy Mike Whitney?
He might be at the table still.
Can you get him for me?
Yeah.
Please. You're doing this to retire a spouse. You're doing this to get out of a job. You're doing this to maybe you haven't taken your family on a vacation in 5 years. I know I was there, and it was painful. That's why you're doing this, for the residuals. Fast start game plan. My boy, speaking of getting out of a job, my boy Mike Whitney. Come on up here, Mike.
It's on the floor, Mike.
Okay, guys, here's the deal with me and Mr. Mike Whitney. We're not on the same team. I'm not his upline, he's not my upline, but we're at Rayland, but we're very, very close. The reason being, we got started in this business about the same time. We met each other at a conference. I actually was outside sitting around a pool and met Rayland. We started talking about our sons. And we just formed a friendship, but here's where the friendship got really, really strong. We were both going through the journey together of building this Nerium business for our families. So we had this tight cohesion, something that'll never be broke. And I was told that when I got into the company like this, that I would make some of the best friends of my entire life. And that has held true. So it's so awesome to see Mr. Mike Whitney and Ms. Raylan Whitney as one-star national marketing directors. And I'd like Mike just to kind of share what it felt like to fire his wife.
Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't know he was going to do this to me. So, well, you guys know. I mean, some of you have a job that you really enjoy. Some of you may not. Some of you may be where I was. corporate world for 23 years. The cool thing was about this time, the first time, I had a boss that I really couldn't stand to watch breathe, let alone talk to. That was a little bit different situation for me. Firing him felt really good, but I was in a bad place, so it didn't feel that good. And I really ejected from my corporate job a little bit earlier than I wanted to. But what Nerium provided me, it gave me options. It gave me the option to fire a boss that I absolutely hated. It gave me the option to quit a job where I was just stuck and dead. It also gave me the option to interview my next boss and my next opportunity in the corporate world, and actually worked for that company for about a year and 3 months. And they had respect for me. They didn't treat me like a number. They treated me like a person. So that conversation that I had with him last week was very interesting. I told him that I appreciated the opportunity that he gave me. I appreciated the respect that he gave me. But I told him, I said, this opportunity that I have at Nerium is, and he knew when he hired me that I worked for a company called Nerium. And I actually shared our information with him, and he was interested, but he never pursued it. And I wasn't allowed to approach anybody at the business that I was working at. So as I finished up my interview with him, he was disappointed, and I was a little bit sad because when someone respects you that way, you don't want to let them down, and that's kind of what I felt like I was doing. But I just could not pass up the opportunity to come and do Nerium full time. I said, there are 3 people, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lance, there are 3 people that in a 3-year company have earned $1 million just this year. And I said, I don't see JCI ever providing me that opportunity. So I'm going to have to let you go. So absolutely, people ask me what Nerium has given or provided for me, and I tell people now that Nerium saved my life. It really did, because that's how stuck I was. That's how stuck Raylan and I both were, and I thank the Lord every day that she said yes to Mindy Anderson and tried the product. Get your product out, because that's how people come into the business.
I'm a stories guy. I love stories like that. That's what got me really excited about this business. I mean, I was sitting in a chair, just like you guys, maybe my first week or second week in the business with my pen and notepad, and I was seeing stories like this. And I'm looking at the people that are on the stage sharing these stories, and I'm thinking to myself, I think I can do what they did. These people are just talking about plugging in 2 a day, talking to 2 people a day, showing up at events, getting on the training calls. I think that's something that I can do. So I'm definitely a stories guy. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah. All right. I've got one last story for you that we're going to keep going in, because here's the deal on the stories, guys. We're going to talk about some how-tos today, because that's why you're here. But none of the training on the how-tos matters if you don't know how to do the how-tos. And that's where you're going to start finding your why, on why you're showing up and why you're doing this business. So I've got something to actually show you guys real quick. Those of you in the back might not be able to see this, but I told everybody Tuesday night, I searched all through my garage with Megan and the kids last night for like an hour and a half trying to find this picture. This is a picture of my family. Can the people in the front row see something that might be missing in that picture? You. Me. Okay? So, quick story. While we were building our business, all the hours that I was working, my wife had scheduled family picture day, and I got a phone call that there was a closing that I had to be at. Okay, I ran the sales department, I had to be at the closing. So man, I got family picture day. Do you think my boss cared? He didn't care. I was a number, okay? Now we're not up here bashing jobs. We're not up here bashing bosses. That's not what this is about. You may actually love what you do, and that is awesome. I'm just sharing my personal experience. So what's my wife do when I miss family picture day? She puts it on a great big canvas. She had a cell phone cover made for my phone with this picture on it, and it's hung right over my desk in my office until I was able to walk away, take it off the nail, and take it home and put it in my home-based business office.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, there are going to be challenges and struggles while you're building this business. Your why has to be strong enough to get you through that. And this is my why right here. Okay? When I got started, you have to have the sit-down powwow with your family. If you have children, you need to let them know why mommy and daddy, or why mommy or daddy is going to be at a Saturday training, why mommy or daddy is going to get on a plane and fly to San Jose. They need to understand why. So here's what I did. I kind of put myself in a trap with my kids. So here's what I said. We sat down and said, hey, look, guys, I've got a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 16-year-old. This is 3 years ago. I said, look, here's what we're doing. We're joining this amazing company, and mom and dad are going to be putting in some extra time, spare time, to build this, but here's why we're doing it. We're doing it so we can get a free iPad. That was what I got my kids with. We're doing it so we can maybe get a free Lexus, but eventually, I'm truly doing this so that I don't have to miss your games anymore. And people might look at me and say, Lance, why did you say that to your kids? Like, that is such an empty promise. That's a pretty steep hill to climb. I knew that if I told my kids that I would never walk away. Okay? I was never going to come home to my kids and say, well, guys, you know that Nerium thing I was talking about, the iPad, and like, it didn't work out. Dad's going back to work 60 hours a week the rest of my life. I knew that I wouldn't do that to my kids, so I kind of set myself up and put myself in that trap. So the day that it did happen, and the day that I was able to walk away from the job and be a full-time stay-at-home dad, it was a pretty special day. It's, Daddy, you said you'd do that. You said you'd do that for us. Now, I'm not up here trying to act like super dad or anything, but that's what I did because my why was strong enough to push through the no's and push through the struggles that people have building a business. Okay? That might be the last story that I have for you today. I don't know. Something else might pop in here in a minute. So, let's talk about the how-tos. Fast start game plan. I suggest not everybody in this business is a runner. Has anybody determined that yet? Do you have people maybe on your team that aren't necessarily a runner? Guys, that's okay. Okay? Not everybody's going to be a CEO. Not everybody's going to be the president of the company. Maybe they're not ready for a fast start game plan. That's okay. For the people who got involved in your business that are ready to roll, here's what I know. People like us, get excited. We're super jacked up. We just started our Nerium business. We're like, okay, I'm super jacked up, but what do I do? First thing you do is sit down with them, or get on the phone with them, Skype with them, and do a fast start game plan. We're going to keep it very, very simple. And thank goodness the company has come up with forms like this, because in May of 2012, we didn't have this. We were told, make your list, here's how you call your list, show up at events, and here's the number for the calls. That's what we were given. So, keeping it simple with a brand new person is the key. If you give them 50 things to do, they're going to shut down on you. Okay? They are not looking for a job. This is a volunteer army. Okay? We're here to help them become successful. We're here to help them plug them into the system and show them how to have success. But guys, the simpler you keep it, the harder they're going to run with the few things that you show them to do. Okay? And you guys can obviously print this up right out of your back office. Out of resources, marketing materials, and internal flyers. This is where I always spend the most time during that fast start game plan I'm doing with that brand new person. I'm like, guys, look, here's the deal. And I share with them the story that I just shared with you. I don't want that brand new person thinking that I'm not something that they are. Okay? I'm very transparent with them about my why, and I share that with them to get them thinking a little bit bigger. Sometimes I'm on the phone with somebody, I'm like, what's your why? Well, I'd love to have a swimming pool. That's awesome. But is that swimming pool, do you have a swimming pool now? No. Was that swimming pool going to be enough to keep you in the business? Probably not. Now, if your mother is in a nursing home, and maybe she's having trouble paying for that, but you want to keep her there, you want to keep her in a really nice facility so she can live comfortable the rest of her life, you think maybe that might help you stay engaged with your business more than a swimming pool? I definitely think so. So I tell everybody when we're getting started, guys, if you don't figure out number one, and I'm not putting you on the spot to tell me what it is, but if you don't figure out number 1, 2 through 6, do not matter. Okay? On your fast start game plan. So I just try to get them thinking a little bit bigger, and hopefully, some of the stories that we're sharing today maybe get you guys thinking a little bit bigger. When I first got started, I didn't necessarily know the first day of what my why was. I wanted to make $500. So don't feel bad if you don't have that figured out yet, if you're brand new. And I will tell you, your why will change. When we, now that we have accomplished, quote unquote, our first why of getting home full time to the kids, guys, I want to tell you something. There's nothing more satisfying than getting that Lexus, other than helping somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Okay? And I didn't get that. But the first night that we helped our very first person qualify for their Lexus, it was waterworks, guys. It was a feeling that you cannot put a price on. So our why has definitely transformed into helping other people go through the mission, go through the journey of Nerium to succeeding with not just financial freedom, but time freedom. For us, time freedom was just as valuable as the money. Okay? So really dig in, think about some whys, and if yours is transforming right now, it's supposed to. Okay? That's awesome. What if money wasn't an issue? I mean, what would you do with your time? Guys, it is crazy. My first day when I walked out of my job, it was at 9:30 on a Monday morning. It was snowing outside. It was in January, and I drove home. And I promise you guys know my stories. I drove home. Megan was on the phone. Kids were at school, and I was like, man, what do I do? So I went to the garage, grabbed a snow shovel. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go take my time. I'm going to shovel the driveway. 10:15. That same morning, I'm done. I'm like, well, what do I do now? So I called my mentor, Don Creek. I was like, dude, tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm full-time Nerium now. So in my mind, corporate America had trained me that you're supposed to work full-time. Okay? He goes, you just earned time freedom. Give yourself a little break. Okay? So the time freedom, guys, I'm 3 years or 15 months into having absolute 100% time freedom. I'm still getting used to it. Okay? It's a process. It's a darn good process, though, I can promise you guys. Okay? So if time and money were an issue, how would you live? People are like, all right, I'm started. I'm in Nerium. I just got my box. I'm jacked up. Like, what am I trying to do? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Because if you can give me what I'm trying to accomplish or what my bullseye is, then it's easier for me to run for it. I'm like, hey, look, the first benchmark, and I don't, use, you have to do this. I never say that to a new person. I just say, look, with any business venture, with any sport, with any activity, you've got to have that first benchmark of what you're trying to accomplish so you can get out of the gates, right? And they say, right. I'm like, with Nerium, your first benchmark is to go out and try to get your first 3 brand partners in your first 30 days. Does that seem attainable to you? And I ask them. And not everybody says yes, okay? And that's okay too, okay? Because that's going to let you know exactly where that brand new person is. You might want that person to make 10 grand a month. They may not want that. That might not be why they join. They might join for the tax benefits, guys. And it's important for you as their sponsor or for you as their upline to know where they're at. Okay? You've got to go where they're at to get you to come where you are. Does everybody follow me on that? Okay. Go away? Yeah. All right. So that's your first goal. And I let them know, hey, look, here's what you're going to get when you hit that first goal of getting your first 3 brand partners in your first 30 days. You're going to get a $100 bonus. That's going to help you already start offsetting the cost of your investment. Does that sound exciting? They're like, perfect. That's what I'm trying to do. So set that target date so they've got on their calendar what day they need to have that done by. And I explain to them the Fast Start Qualified bonus. I don't talk about, who's making money upline, but I let them know what's in it for them. That's all they care about, guys. They want to know what's in it for them if they go out and get their first 3, and you let them know they're running for that $100. Results party. So here's how I talk to people about scheduling their parties. I'll ask them, how do you feel about having people over to your house? I don't say, you need to schedule your first 2 parties within 72 hours. You need to invite 30,000 people. I don't do that to people. If that would have been done to me, I would have bolted. That was way too weird, way too uncomfortable. I simply ask them, how do you feel about inviting people that you care about over to your house? Guys, you'll be amazed at how many more parties you get out of doing it that way. Okay? Most people, in most cases, are going to say, I actually love having people over to the house. It's very comfortable for me. Okay? So you just walk them through the importance of scheduling 2 parties. Reason being, not everybody's going to be able to be at your Wednesday night lunch party. Maybe Johnny's got soccer, or maybe they've got church, maybe they've got whatever. You let that person know that's not a problem at all. I'm having one Friday night as well. It would mean the world to me if you can make it. Okay? So that's why we always set 2 launch parties with that new person. For me, I didn't have an hour to sit down with my top 30 prospects when I got started. Time was not my best friend. I didn't have that kind of time. So with the 2 launch parties, something else that has helped me get the parties in the organization much, much higher, and this is for people who maybe aren't comfortable with the party for whatever reason. I'll say, hey, look, here's the shoes that I was in. I was working 60 hours a week, 3 kids in sports. I didn't have an hour to sit down with every single prospect. Maybe you do. That's awesome if you do, but I didn't have that. So I had to compress time frames. Okay? I was able to put, let's just use that number. Let's use 15 people in a living room for an hour and a half one night, 15 people in my living room another night. So I was able to expose 30 people in a combined effort of about 3 hours. If you tell it to people that way, they'll get that. Okay? Then they see the value in having a party, because all of a sudden you're not taking up much more of their time than you originally told them you'd be taking. Okay? Is everybody good on the parties? Exposure process. You know, it's the funniest thing that people tell us is, I'm no good at sales. Has anybody heard I'm no good at sales? I can't do that? Okay. Well, I'm not like you. This is a thing. I don't like selling my friends or my family. Okay, well, I don't really feel like I've ever done that. And they're like, well, how is that? So we started talking to them about the exposure process. Okay? The biggest challenge that I had coming into this business, guys, and again, I'm going to be just dead honest, transparent with you guys, is I was selling people into my business. Well, guess what happens when you sell people into your business? You have to sell them to stay. Okay? So it was kind of like a revolving door. People were coming in, they had no why, they were getting in just based off my excitement alone, no information, and they were out the back door just as fast. Okay? So I had to finally subside to Jeff Olson's crazy system of showing people third-party tools. Guess what, guys? It works. Our recruiting went through the roof, and it was just simply because if my motor mouth was moving, I was pointing at a tool. I was pointing at a magazine. I was getting somebody an email. Not only was I getting them an email, hey guys, let me talk about the emails for a minute, videos. You're meeting sharp people, you're getting these videos out to your friends, and I have a lot of people tell me, well, they didn't respond to that email. It's not their job to respond to your email. Okay? It's your job to follow up with that person and ask them what they like best about the information you shared with them. Okay? Is everybody kind of with me on that one? Because I hear that all the time. Well, they didn't respond to it. They must not be interested. I guess I'll just have to cross them off my list. No, guys. It's not on their radar yet. It takes an average person to get started in this company 5 to 7 exposures. Okay? So just continue dripping on it. Unless they absolutely just rip you up one side and down the other and tell you, I will never join one of those things, they're giving you permission to keep following up with them. Give them more information. Okay, guys? Building your list. So, I was on the phone with a girl in an organization I think she was out of Texas. She'd been involved for about 3 weeks, and she says, Lance, I need to talk with you. My business is stagnant. I already knew where this conversation was going. Okay? So the first thing we do is we get on the phone, and I said, okay, I want to make sure you have all your stuff there, so when we get on the phone, we can hash this out and tweak a few things. I knew the whole time what the problem was. I said, do you have your list in front of you? She said, yeah. I said, okay, how many people are on that list? Well, I've got 10 names on there. I said, okay, so your list in 3 weeks has 10 people on it, and 10 people told you no. So does that mean that you have failed at this business? She goes, well, so far. I said, okay, we're on the phone together. Excuse me for water. We're on the phone together. Put me on speakerphone. She goes, okay. I said, hit contacts. She said, okay. I said, how many contacts are in your phone? She goes, 167. I said, okay. So I said, we just took your list from 10 to 167 in 5 seconds. She goes, that was amazing. I said, she goes, but some of these people I haven't talked to in a long time. I said, what a great way for you to reconnect with an old friend with the exciting news that you just started your own business. Right? She goes, I never thought about it that way. I said, if you went out and you started a fancy Italian restaurant and you opened it up and you put a lot of work into it, would you call everybody in your phone, let them know that you just opened a fine dining Italian restaurant? She said, well, absolutely. I said, why is this any different? Just because you didn't invest $500,000, $1 million into starting a business, why would you treat this business any different by not letting everybody know that you're in business? She said, I get that. That makes sense. So they make it real simple on the Fast Start plan sheet. I mean, they're going to have a little party hat, so you know if they're local, you're going to invite them to your party. The bottle's going to show you that's, this person's local. I want to get the product on their face. The third one, for out-of-towners, is going to be a video, and then a follow-up, okay? And again, another great one of my favorites is a local sit-down at the Starbucks or something. That's typically going to be for somebody who's at least knows what you're doing, and they've at least shown a little bit of anticipation on getting some information from you. Sit-downs are very, very, very powerful. That means you've taken enough time and you care enough about that person to take time out of your busy day to sit down with them. And I let everybody know, do not check that last box on there unless you have actually contacted them. Voicemails don't count, okay? Emails don't count. Nothing counts until that person has either said no, or I want more information, or I want to go check this out at a market party, or. Once that person has actually been exposed, that's when they get contacted. Now, that's not saying, guys, that I just bombard the person that I haven't been able to get a hold of 50 times a day. That's not what this is. That's weird, okay? Those people, I can promise you, will never want to check out your business if you do that to them. All it is, it's a simple mental reminder that, hey, man, I've been able to get a hold of Jimmy. I'm going to check back with him in a couple of weeks. Maybe he's just out of town on business. Maybe he's not interested. Maybe he just, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to check back with him, okay? And if he's not into it right then, that's not a problem for me. He's not saying no to you guys. He's saying no to your business. He's saying no right now. So when somebody gets told no, it's not the best feeling in the world, but you want to know what a really, really good feeling after getting told no is? Getting told yes. And here's how you do it. When your buddy tells you no, your parents tell you no, your coworkers tell you no, just simply ask, hey, look, that's no problem. This isn't for everybody. But let me ask you, do you mind if I keep you updated on my success? Who in the world is going to say no to that? Unless they're just a really bad person, then you didn't want them in your business anyways. Okay? So can everybody say that? Do you mind if I keep you updated with my success? And they're going to say yes. Do you know what they just allowed you to do, just gave you permission to do? Follow back up with me, guys. Okay? That's a very, very indirect way of asking for permission to follow back up with somebody. Okay? So start thinking about how you came into this business. Did you just get a phone call from your friend and sign on the dotted line 5 seconds later? Most of you probably not. My wife, yes. With a big kid. But most of you probably not. So start walking through how you came into this business, because you've got to keep that in mind when you're bringing people into the business. Okay? A lot of you, maybe it was you got a phone call from a friend, they asked you for your email, they sent you over the video, they followed back up with you, they put you on a Sunday night recruiting call, they brought you to a Tuesday night market party, and then put you on the phone with somebody in their upline. That's 7 exposures right there, guys. Okay? So if that was you, be patient with the people who take 5 to 7 exposures and getting in. We have people that have been watching us on Facebook for 3 years that are just now getting started in the business. For whatever reason, it took seeing us have success before they actually realized this was real. Now, that's not everybody. You don't have to raise your hand. How many people in this room have people in your life or people in your family that aren't supportive of your Nerium business? Guys, I want to tell you right now, you're right where you need to be. My wife and I have people in our lives, biologically, and I won't say any names, that are just waiting for this thing to blow up in our face. That's crazy to me. They've seen the money that we make. They've seen the people that we've helped. This is just not for everybody. Understand, you love them for where they're at, but this is absolutely not for them. Okay? If they're that way, you guys, I'm just going to tell you, you don't want them in your business. I know that's kind of a tangent, but that's something that I really wanted to say. Real result parties. So, the biggest thing that you can do for a person on a real results party, and I'm not going to do a mock real results party up here, but the biggest thing that you can do to help that brand new person when they're scheduling their party is here's what I say. Invite 4 times the amount of people that you actually want there. Or, I'll say, how many people would you like in your living room? Well, I would like 5. Well, then you need to invite 20. They're like, well, okay. And I'll say, look, I'm setting your expectations now. I manage your expectations now So if you invite 20 and only 5 show up, you know it was a success and not a failure. Like, I like that. That already makes me feel better. So if people don't show up, it's okay. I'm like, it's the norm. In fact, the industry averages are this. Okay? Half of the people that you invite are going to say they're going to be there. Half of those people will actually show up. How many people have been bombarded with texts about 30 minutes before your real results party saying, I can't make it? How many have had a real results party and nobody showed up? Not even your sponsor. Guys, it's normal. Okay? The people that you're getting, the people that you saw down in front, the NMDs in San Jose, they've only been through that 4 times. Okay? So if you can kind of get over the mental crutch of, man, no one showed up at my party, I'm a failure. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. That's a sprint. This is a marathon. Keep having it. Keep having it. I have a girl in my organization in Arizona, and for 6 months she tried to have real results parties and had no success getting people to them at all. Okay? So she was trying to sell them to get into her house. She was trying to sell those people the product before they ever got to her house. I said, let's make a few little tweaks here. I said, why don't you just invite them over for some wine and cheese, and you want feedback on what it is that you're doing from them, because you're not really sure about it yet. You really haven't sunk your teeth into it yet. She goes, well, that seems pretty normal. I'm like, try it. Let's see if it works. So she went back to her friends a completely different way, completely different postures, completely different demeanor. Instead of trying to sell them something or sell them on why they need to come to her house, she was like, hey, look, I've been involved for like 6 months. I really haven't kind of really wrapped my head around this thing yet, but I would really respect it if you would take a look at this. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I want your support to come over and watch this information and give me your feedback. All of a sudden, she started climbing through the ranks. Senior brand partner, director. Today, she's a senior director. She's a party machine. That's all she does is parties now. Okay? But she changed her posture on how she was invited to her parties, and it changed everything for her. Okay? Product prospecting system. I'm not Tammy Smith, guys. Okay? I'm not going to be able to stand up here and tell you the perfect way of doing it, because there is no perfect way of doing it. Guys in the room, the first time you handed a bottle to one of your buddies, did it feel awkward? It should have. And it did for me. Okay? My buddies looked at me like I was nuts. In fact, a few of them said, how's that makeup thing going for you? No joke. I was so mad when I got that text. He's like, I ran into your wife at the airport. How's that? She said that you guys are doing some makeup thing. How's your makeup business going? Dude, are you kidding me? You're like working 80 hours a week in the car business. I mean, don't tell me that you were loving staying home from your 4 kids 80 hours a week. That's crazy to say, but I haven't had success yet. Has anybody been teased before you've had success in this business yet? Okay. Well, guess what you get to do with people like that? 6 months later, when they see you on Facebook and make a snide little remark on one of your before and after pictures, you can take out your phone and you can take a snap picture of your lifetime earnings with Nerium and you can text it to them. Okay? Guys, I'm telling you right now, there's no better feeling. And I know that I'm not winning. I know he's not going to join my business, but I felt better about doing it. And it was worth it. It was worth it. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to get off on that tangent. I told you. Guys, for us and for the guys in the room, I had to get really good at something. And it wasn't going to be learning the ingredients. I barely made it through high school. Okay? I'm not a scientist, and I'm not an esthetician. I got really good at pulling out my phone, showing pictures. Try this, see how it works for you. Not only did I get good at that part, I got good at 9 o'clock, setting a reminder in my phone. I texted them at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, reminding them to use the product. Okay? But here's basically what I would say to them whenever I'm giving them the product. Okay? And if this is not a white lie, this should be the truth. You should have a list of people waiting on the product. Okay? If that's the willingness to work in your business. I just let them know. I'd say, hey Lisa, look, I've got a list of about 40 people waiting on this product. I thought of you first. Okay? I'm limited on how many bottles I have. I'd like you to get started on this product tonight. I just want to borrow your skin for 5 nights. Fair enough? She's like, well, yeah, what is it? I'm just doing this. Or I hand her my phone, and she's going through the pictures. You don't have to become a professional salesperson, guys. And that was the biggest thing that I had to learn coming from sales into sharing. I shared a bottle with her, and I shared the pictures with her off of my phone. Guys, that's all that I do. There's no magic to what it is that we do. We just do it a lot. Okay? So, is everybody good on how to share a bottle with somebody? When you're sharing a bottle with somebody, you're showing those before and after pictures. I'm real big on managing people's expectations because I hate disappointment. Okay? So I'm letting them know, hey, look, can you believe the pictures that you're looking at right now are 90 days or less? They're like, 90 days or less? Well, you're only letting me have it for 5 nights. I'm like, well, these are customers. I'm basically letting you have a test drive. Okay? It's basically a ar test drive. I say, you're going to use this product on your skin for 5 nights so you can see how it's going to make your skin feel. So if you guys are taking notes, you might write that one down. You let them know that they're going to use the product for 5 nights so they can see how it's going to make their skin feel. You're setting them up the proper way right up front. Okay? You're not telling them, look at these pictures, this is what you're going to look like in 5 nights. That's not it. When you get the bottle picked up, they're going to say, you know what, you're right. The skin around my eyes is softer, or my forehead, whatever they say, you're going to say, that's exactly right. I'm glad it felt better. Now let's get you in on the 30-day money-back guarantee so you can see how it's going to make your skin look. Show them a picture. So you go from feel to look. If you can manage people's expectations all the way through the process, you'll get a lot more customers. Okay, that much I do know. Product for everybody. So, same thing, guys. I mean, I think this girl actually, and I could be wrong, she might actually be in the organization. That picture is crazy. Sharing before and after pictures, guys. Just become a professional at showing pictures. Master a 2-day system. Has anybody ever not shared 2 exposures a day? Guys, it's life gets in the way. Thank goodness Jeff Olson's smart enough not to ask us to do 10 a day, right? That'd be a little bit out of the box. But anybody can do it 2 a day. So, let me just, and guys, I do 40-point weeks. I make it my goal to do my 40-point weeks, but not everybody does 2 exposures a day. Not even Mark, well, maybe Mark Smith does. But a lot of top earners don't. Okay, so here's when I was working 60 hours a week, with 3 kids in sports, there would be nights when I'd get home late, and I hadn't left the office all day. I hadn't responded to a text or a phone call all day, so I hadn't made my 2 exposures. But to keep myself disciplined, and to keep myself in integrity, and to keep myself focused in on actually doing my 2 a day, I would, if nothing else, I would jump on Facebook for 5 minutes before I went to bed and inbox 2 people. Okay? My wife would do the same thing. One of the people that she happened to inbox one night is in this room, who has built an amazing, amazing business. In the inbox simply said this: hey girl, you have super amazing skin. You're probably going to be really into what product I'm using right now. It's my Botox in a bottle. By the way, there's an amazing business attached to it. Okay, completely probably wrong thing to say, because here's the reaction we got. Oh my gosh, thanks for the compliment on my skin, but I'm definitely not into those things. Okay, thanks anyway. I'm successful. I don't need those things. The reply back from us was, no worries, here's our website. Check it out. Let us know. This was just an acquaintance. Okay, our daughters cheered together. This was not somebody that was considered in my warm market. Okay, so what happened was, because that was the only exposure that we could make that day, I didn't feel that great about it, but hey, you know what? At least we talked to somebody. I at least got to go to bed knowing that we talked to somebody about the product or the opportunity that day. Next day, we wake up to a $1,000 grant partner. Okay? That person who didn't do these things, here I go with my quote fingers again. You guys there Tuesday night? And my quote fingers were going crazy. My son, Braxton, he's 10, he's like, Dad, are you ready to take your afternoon nap? I really don't take naps while you're working, We woke up to a $1,000 grant partner the next morning. We're like, what? The message was about, hey, what's your number? I'm ready to get started. So Megan gets on the phone with her. She says, hey, look, I got on your website. I stayed on your website for 3 hours last night while my husband slept. I studied Jeff Olson. I studied the product. I studied the science. Studied everything. And said, I'm ready to get started. Lisa Ford, would you stand up and make everybody ready? So, this is somebody that we would have been on our chicken list to really kind of talk to, okay? But here's what we learned. A yes from a 10 is way more powerful than a yes from a 1. Okay, guys? Here's a girl, here's a woman, very, very successful in the software industry. Somebody who didn't really look like on the outside that she wanted or needed a business opportunity like this. Who are we to prejudge that for her? That's not our job, okay? So we shared it with her, gave her our website, said, hey, look, no worries, here's our website, check it out when you get time. She looked at the information and ran with the business, guys. And she was one of the very first people that we actually recruited, still in the business today, having massive success. Thanks for joining us for the next one. Now, that's not going to happen every time. That's just one of our fun stories that we get to share with people on the crazy things that do happen in this business, okay? Conference calls. When I got started, I rebelled. I don't know why I felt the need to rebel against the things that I was being told would make me successful, but I just did. I'm being honest with you guys about that. Maybe there's a few people in the room here that are the same way. Nobody at all? Okay, thank you. So, I would get a phone call from my mentor. Man, what'd you think of that call? That was unbelievable. Can you believe the training they just laid out for us? I'm like, look, I do a conference call with my boss every Monday and get my teeth kicked in. I hate conference calls. I'm probably not going to be on any of these calls. I don't need the rah-rah. I don't need, look, let me ask you something. If I told you I would pay you 10 grand a month to be on 3 calls a week, do you think you could do this? Well, that's stupid. Of course I could. Are you going to pay me 10 grand a month? He said, let me share something with you. Everybody making 10 grand plus a month in this company is on 3 calls a week. That's called a clue, Lance. It's time to be coachable. All right? So that I got. Okay? So, very simply, I couldn't be on every live call. And maybe a lot of people in this room are that way too. I have work, or that's when Johnny has karate practice, or whatever. Thank goodness the company is smart enough to understand that our system for building this business is designed around busy working parents. So they've got a replay for every single call, and that's going to be at the bottom of the screen. You replay real lifeline. So write that down so you never can have another excuse on why you miss a call. Guys, just throw your earbuds in, put your phone in your back pocket, make dinner, do whatever you got to do. It's not like I just laser focus in at my desk and shut my kids out while I'm on these calls. I do it while I'm helping clean the house or whatever. Okay? Helping. I said helping. I actually do it. That's what happens when you go full-time. You're home all the time and you think, man, I'm going to have all this time free, and your wife actually comes up with a to-do list for you every single morning. Who's kind of timid to, or who's ever gone on the phone with one of their prospects and just rapid fire Nerium all over them? We all have, okay? When in fact what we learned we should be doing is giving somebody the information, giving them the number, and it goes something like this. Hey, look, John. Hey, man, super excited about this new product my wife and I are endorsing. Grab a pen. G-A-P. Grab a pen. The first thing John's going to do is grab a pen, okay? Because you told him to. Hey, look, what's this all about? And it's like, what are you talking about? Man, I'm on my way out the door. I need you to write this number down real quick. What are you doing at the top of the hour? Well, not much, man. I'm just hanging at the house. Great. Call starts at 6. It's going to be about 15 minutes. I want your feedback on the information you got on this. I got excited when I heard it. I want you to listen to it. I'll call you at 6:30. Fair enough? The chances of John getting on that call are pretty good now. Okay? The chances of John getting on a call, if I would have called him, to tell him to get on the recruiting call, but gave him all the Nerium information, are going to be pretty low. Why? He doesn't need to get on the call. I just gave him everything. Okay? And guess what? He was pretty weirded out by the fact that I knew things about skincare. Okay? He's probably not joining my business. But I was excited when I called him. I gave him the information. I got myself back out of the way, and I let him hear it for his own ears or see it for his own eyeballs. Okay? Who's excited about the new kits? So hopefully now that everybody's back from San Jose, they launched the new kits. Hopefully everybody in this room is going back through their list of people who maybe didn't have the $500 to $1,000 to get started. But here's what I'm learning, and this has been pretty interesting this last week. And I know Jen and Tony are going to train on this. We talked about it. But I just want to state this. Yes, you can get started for $249. Is it enough product to go out and build a dynasty? No, that's why it's called a starter pack, guys. We're not trying to trick anybody. But I actually had a guy bring this to my attention. It was a prospect. He's like, okay, so I don't have the 500 now. Okay, so we went back to him. He's like, I've got the 249 and you've talked to me about the upgrade, so here's how I see it, Lance. I can actually kind of do 2 separate payments of $250 to get more product over the span of a couple of weeks. I said, man, that's brilliant. That's what I'm going to use in my training on Saturday. He's like, honestly, Lance, that's a lot easier for people than what you might think. Okay? Because a lot of people are week to week to week to week in their tests on how they live. They live week to week. But they want to build this business. It's not because they don't want the product, guys. It's not everybody can do it all at once. So, when you're talking to people about this, yes, you want them to upgrade because you want them to have more what? Fishing poles in the water. Those are what the bottles are, okay? If you're doing the starter pack, you've got a bottle for you, 2 for your friends, and then your hands are kind of tied for 5 nights until you get those bottles back, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But what if you had more bottles out in the field getting tested? Do you think you're probably going to get a few more yeses a little bit quicker? Yes, so that's how I've been training my organization on it, guys. Hey, look, if they're able to upgrade, just show them, hey, look, it was 500, but what if you could do the 500 spaced out over a couple of weeks, or 3 weeks, or within your first 30 days? You're going to get a lot more people upgrading a lot quicker if you do it that way. From what I have found so far. So what does it look like when you upgrade? I still have the bottles memorized. When you upgrade, you have bronze, silver, or gold. I just ask people, it's just a matter of how fast you want to run. Well, will it take me longer to earn my investment back if I go with the bigger one? I'm like, why would you think that? You've got 30 bottles out working for you now, as opposed to 3. And they're like, yeah, I didn't think about that. That makes sense. So don't be scared to start talking to people about getting your business launched. Guys, we didn't have this when we got started. We came in with a $1,000 kit. All we had was the night train, and we got 12 bottles. I'm just going to tell you right now, as excited as we are, that wasn't enough. The bottles built our business. We were buying additional bottles from our upline because we hadn't earned any Nerium gift back bottles yet. We were brand new. We ordered a blitz pack for additional bottles. I think we actually even were doing it. I know we were doing it wrong. We lost track of how many bottles. We became professional. We were like little drug dealers running these bottles all over town. I'm not kidding you. We would meet our upline in the parking lot at Walmart at 11:30 at night to grab a bottle from her because we had somebody else waiting on it. That's how we built this business, by getting the bottles out there. And guys, that's exact. Somebody in this room maybe has heard of all the success that Springfield, Missouri's had with Nerium. They got like 10 NMDs and 50 Lexus earners. The town's 150,000 people. This is why. Because we all were brand new. The company was fairly new. We really didn't know what to do. We certainly didn't know how to get in front of room and present, but we knew how to get the bottles out. And we got really, really good at that. Okay? So everybody got the information on the new packs.